Oh, hey there. It's me again. Welcome back. As I was saying yesterday, I was on a little tirade about Jeff Bezos, billionaires, and basically people in general who are full of shit. And honestly, don't know how far I got. Less than 10 minutes, and this piece of shit camera cut off on me. It's actually a cell phone. Not even a good cell phone. Like an old Galaxy SJ7 that I inherited from my mom, which she gave up because it was too slow and she hated it. So that tells you something. And I ran out of space. I'm hoping this video actually processes and works. Let me check to make sure it's working. Because what I did was I made a video that was about, 20 minutes long, and I ended up going to turn the camera off, and it was like, oh, the screen's black. So, big whoop, right? It's sometimes a blessing in disguise when a video doesn't work, because I'll just not upload it and say, well, it was just me on a rant or a tirade. But in this case, I really felt like I had a point to make, and I feel like it was completely missed by the fact that it cut off so early. But as I was saying, to continue, you might want to check out part one. And as usual, thanks to my subscribers, thank you to my patrons, all the normal shit. So let's move on. I believe I was somewhere around the point of talking about Jeff Bezos in his stupid fucking cowboy hat and his little uniform when he came back down from space. And then I thought about Richard Branson. I think that's his name, the guy from Virgin Airlines, who did basically the same kind of shit, spaceflight. And then we've got the Bill Gates, who thinks he's the savior of all medicine. And of course, the Elon Musk, who's going to save us all with technology. And let me just say, look, I get a lot of flack for being an Elon Musk hater. And I don't mean, I think I come across as a hater because of the way I talk about him with family and friends. They're like, you really don't like him. I'm like, no, I really don't. I've watched his little Twitter feud and for a while read his tweets because I was curious. This was at one time the richest man on earth, right? And this was the guy telling everybody else what the future was going to be about. And then he loses half of his money basically fucking overnight with Tesla because of his stupid antics. You think about it, he went from being richest to second richest. Who cares? He's got hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Well, it matters, and it hurt his ego because ultimately he's only there for his ego. Just like Jeff Bezos, just like Bill Gates, just like all of them. Whether they're trying to, mend some, social angst about what they didn't do in the past. Bill Gates, for example, I stood up for the guy a long time ago, but he's a complete shitbag. Like, whatever he's doing is obscured by the fact that many of his nonprofits aren't necessarily nonprofit. And many of his little antics are about profit. Even when the vaccines rolled out, he said he convinced companies not to give out the patent to South Africa. This was a huge controversy, but not surprising. And he said that they wouldn't be prepared to deal with it, even though they have one of the best biolabs down there in the world. Anyway, all that bullshit aside, billionaires are completely full of shit, and Elon Musk included. Everything he tweets about, everything he talks about is nonsense. All of his, shenanigans with the outrolling of the Teslas. Look, I see them all over the road. People drive Teslas. Great. That's wonderful. But he didn't invent electric cars. He didn't invent PayPal. He didn't invent SpaceX. He's buying companies and putting his face on it and then doing these silly little stage dances. And I'll never forget the time when they threw the rock at the window of his new cyber truck and it just completely broke it. And then they tried the other one and it broke too. And I thought this was on stage, literally live in front of millions of people who would be watching. over and over to see this ridiculous moment. But it just goes to show kind of the hubris and arrogance of these people. Now, not every billionaire is this way, and I'm not saying money is the main. Lucy, you frickin' tardo. I'm not saying that money is the main reason it happens. Uh, I would say that money changes people extremely. And so the point I'm trying to get at is not just being a billionaire hater. But yeah, Jeff Bezos does look dumb in his stupid fucking hat. And Elon Musk is pretty dorky dancing around on stage. But here's the thing. And I want to make this very clear before I go any further. Because somebody pointed out, one of my subscribers, he's like, yeah, you know, people are full of shit. You and I are full of shit too sometimes. I totally agree. And I thought about that for a while. It was Tony Gareth who left that comment. Thanks, Tony. He's always been a loyal subscriber who always comments and has something interesting to say. And he's willing to speak when he disagrees with me. I love that. Having a disagreement on YouTube, believe me, I don't take it personal. If you disagree with something I say, please tell me, because I'm more than willing to argue about it. I don't make it a big deal. But yes, sometimes we are all full of shit. The difference, I thought about this for a while, it's like, who's willing to own it? It's that simple. And most people who have stature and wealth, or something to lose when it comes to their notoriety, are afraid to make waves or speak their true minds, and are more willing to go along with the crowd to screw other people over sometimes, because they don't want to be seen a certain way. And I guess what I'm getting at is, if you know your person, if you know your personality, if you understand who you are, and you're willing to admit your quirks, then it doesn't matter that you're full of shit. What matters is, can you be full of shit and admit it? And I thought about this for a while and said, you know, it's very rare that anybody of high stature or wealth or fame sits down and says, I am really just an idiot. I don't know much about most things. I don't know what I'm talking about on most topics. And this is what I'm telling you, literally. That's how I feel about myself. I do not consider myself a genius or smarter than most people. I do consider myself to be a self-educated, wise person about my own life, but then the next year I'll find out maybe something that I thought was working isn't working. And goddamn, it gets complicated. And I get that. So I'm able to admit my faults and deal with it. I might rise, I might fall. It's funny that, and the reason why celebrities and the wealthy are the main focus here is because they are the ones that people look to as solutions to their problems. You know, if I could just be like this influencer, and really that's, I guess, what I'm getting at. It's not just about people who are famous or wealthy. It's people who are famous just for being famous, who have never actually done anything. So fame that is earned by, say, being a great actor, by being a great painter, sculptor, carpenter, for being a great architect, for even being a great tree trimmer, whatever it is, it's something that you've earned, right? It's a title that you've earned. But I really think about the hard work that people do. You know, I got home from work today and I was exhausted. It was a really hot day, 90-degree day, and then I had to do some other shit, and I didn't want to do other shit, but I did it anyway. It wasn't much. But sometimes you're just really hot and tired. It's still in the 70s. It was a really warm day today. I don't know, how hot it got, but I got a little flustered and frustrated. I'd eaten properly through the day. I'd been hydrated, drank water, but it was one of those things. Mosquito. I guess even my boss's woman asked me like, "Oh, were the mosquitoes bugging you last night?" I guess they're just been horrible that they don't generally bother me. Even if they land, I don't notice them, but they don't drink my blood. They don't like it, I guess. Or if they do, I don't get a bump. Anyway, there's probably a connection there for the next point I wanted to make, which was just the average human plight to just survive, make it through, make some friends along the way. Kind of, um, if you're a blue collar person, you understand what I'm talking about. You might not agree with all people, but you're okay with hanging out with people you don't agree with. You can hang out with generally people who are, have more money or less money. You don't feel as isolated, I think, when you're in the lower class, if you will. But, and I'm not talking about dirt poor. I'm just talking about, like what I have. We have a ranch style house, 1,000 square feet, plus a garage. And we've lived here for almost 20 years now, since like 2004. And mosquitoes are coming out in droves now. They hear me talking and all my big mouth breath coming out. They are attracted to CO2. So we've lived here for quite a while. There's a lot of repairs to do and a lot of shit to do. And I was thinking about just all the difficulties of being an average homeowner that works a job with a spouse and kids. Something that the wealthy will never understand. They'll never, like, I think especially about rich people's kids. Just what popped into my head was like Donald Trump Jr. Not to get political at all. Just that guy and his face and the whole computer thing. It was like, oh my God. Wait, I think it was his laptop. But anyway, he looks like a total perv. The dude looks like somebody I would never trust with my kids. I mean, his hair all slicked back and just, but wealthy kids who live in that kind of stature, when their dad has a gold toilet, they don't understand what real blue-collar America goes through. They think they can just pitch some political bullshit speech that says, "Oh, we're going to make clean coal." Shut the fuck up. There is no clean coal. We do need to use fossil fuels, and abandoning fossil fuels like in some fast fashion in order to go to wind and solar is bullshit, because it's actually harming people's, the grids are going to do rolling blackouts. It's important to look at all sides of the story, but the point here being that it doesn't matter what people are so divided on all topics, but especially people should be aware that those who are wealthy or in politics, even in the media, dude, seriously, media personalities get paid tens of millions of dollars a year. Some of the highest paid, and the lowest paid even in the millions. Think about how much people get paid to just sit there and talk about the news. Watched a fantastic video this morning about how the news has changed. A channel I'd never seen on YouTube. I don't recall what it was, but I subscribed because it was worth it. And he was talking about how times had changed with the media, and he said, is that just kind of a bullshit hoax or something people say? And so he went back and did all the research and showed Walter Cronkite and all the way back to the 40s, and when radio started, or, well, the news started, rather. It was when television started, and they said, well, if you're going to have a channel, one of the conditions is you have to share information about what's going on in the world on that channel. That was like what channels had to do, CBS, NBC, whatever it might be. So they shared the information about what was going on in the world in the form of the news. And they did it for free. They didn't get paid for it. they didn't do advertisements. And that yielded a whole, generation of journalists who really could non-biased report what was going on. But all that's changed. The average plight of the American, the working class, the blue collar, that they aren't reported on anymore. It's just riots happened here, or there was a disturbance here, or a shooting there. News ended in the 80s with the fairness doctrine being eliminated, which was a clause that news organizations had to give equal time to both sides. And I understand why they used the First Amendment as their reason, and therefore, when I analyzed it, I said, I have to concede. Yes, the media does have a right to just be biased and lie. And this makes it so complicated because these companies are owned by the very people we're talking about. Bill Gates owns huge amounts in media. Musk owns fucking Twitter. Bezos owns the Washington Post and several other media outlets. Think about this. The billionaires give you your news. Fucking Orwell, where are you? You're gonna laugh at this shit. Sure is a beautiful night though, even though I can't see most of the stars from light pollution. Partly my own light. Is the camera still going? Good. See? We're still going. I haven't lost you yet. But it is going on around 11 at night. I've had a long day. It's been hot. I'm tired. I just had to finish this discussion about why the whole Jeff Bezos and the cowboy hat, the Elon Musk Twitter thing, the whole, billionaires are totally full of shit. All of them. There are no good ones. I think that my conclusion is that they're all shitbags. But it's not only billionaires. There are a lot of shitty people out there I don't like. And it's okay to admit that. You can only be so patient with humans. I figure if somebody is able to accrue that kind of wealth, they're doing something wrong. And I know there will be some people who will say, oh, well, that's your opinion. And yes, it is. Other people will say, oh, you're just jealous. A little bit, but not for billionaires. Like, I don't think people really understand the difference between being a millionaire and a billionaire. I mean, I know you do. My audience knows everything. You guys are fucking smart as shit. But the average American who goes out and shops at the Gap and doesn't give a fuck about any real issues, uses a paper straw and thinks they're saving the environment. These kind of people, oh God, they believe anything. I lost my train of thought. I had a point I was going to go to. I'll just move on and finish this probably lengthy discussion already. But as I said, the bourgeoisie. We have an interesting class structure. We always have. It's not feudalism or some kind of ancient hierarchy. Kings and queens. Oh wait, we do have kings and queens. No, that's the UK. Some dumb fucking shit. Anybody who allows a king, I don't care if it's a representation or not. Like, these people drive around in their fancy cars and drain the accounts of, the coffers of the taxpayer. Billions of dollars go for the royal family to do their stupid shit in their stupid houses. And meanwhile, people are hungry in that country. Fuck that. Unless royalty is out there tending to the fucking gardens, and scraping moss off roofs like everybody else, they don't get it, and they never will. And they'll keep passing this stupidity on to their kids. So, fuck royalty. I gotta say that. It's not just the UK. It goes in, I think, Monaco and... God, no, is that right? I don't recall. I'm not a big geographic expert or an expert on political, world issues. But I've seen enough guys who wear crowns or fancy suits who stand behind a podium and act so arrogant. And in the rare instance when a Westerner gets to interview them, they act like complete assholes. And they shut down every question because they can't answer them. Let me just put it this way. I know when I meet somebody who's real. Sometimes they're really talkative. Sometimes they're not talkative. Sometimes they're really nice. Sometimes they're total assholes. There is no one type of real person, if you get what I'm saying. But when you meet them, you know them. You see them. You look them in the eye and you're like, hey, what's up? And they're like, hey, how you doing? They get it. It's an eye contact thing. But man, there are some dumb motherfuckers out there, as George Carlin says. And some of them wear almost like foggy goggles. Their eyeballs are just vacant. They just seem soulless. That sounds harsh, but I'm sure, and that's not just the dumb ones. The dumb ones, they look aware, but they just aren't that smart, And these are the kind of people who are willing to, seem like they know what they're talking about, but spit so much stupid shit. And that gets back to the whole point of this, that people are full of shit. Nothing wrong with being full of shit. You've just got to be able to admit you're full of shit. If you're selling a crystal wand that's supposed to heal people, that costs $5,000, you should have a disclaimer saying, I don't know for sure whether that's going to work for you, and no, actually, let me backpedal here. You shouldn't be selling a wand at all with crystal healing powers because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Look, I was kind of a spiritualist type. I considered myself a spiritual guy. I've always been the hippie type. I have tons of incense crystals. I love crystals, love incense stones. I love reading about them, researching them, and it's because of that research that I realized how many people are full of shit in the spiritual world. And that didn't even get me started on religion, because I could go on for hours, and I don't want to bring that into this. But so many people in the church, for example, wearing their stupid robes, they're full of shit too. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about either. And they want to pretend they understand God and what the universe is. And if you don't believe in their God, then you're just some sort of a heathen. And I say bullshit. You're translating your Bible the way you want to. Just like people translate politics based on what their own fucking party tells them. Or what their own, I guess it would be, whichever channel they watch, Fox News, CBS, NBC, ABC, doesn't matter. People are generally pretty fucking dumb unless they do their own research. And it's not a matter of what you hear. It's a matter of what you hear and then what you do about it. So you're not full of shit. So you can hold a normal conversation. But also, not being such a greedy fuck that you take advantage of other people. So be a cool person. Be nice. Pretty fucking simple, right? You can yearn for whatever you want. Just don't tread on other people. Don't be an asshole. That's my message. So, peace out. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Oh, still going, huh? Much love, peeps.